Welcome back. This is Donald with Hidden Path Human Design, and I just want to record this video talking about when there's no respect in the home, discussing why it hurts, what's going on, and what you can do about it. When respect is missing in the home, it might feel like you're invisible, that nobody cares what you do around the home. My kids don't listen to me, and my spouse doesn't back me up. Me and my spouse are not a team. I'm doing everything, but nobody notices. These are all symptoms of a deeper problem. So you can just feel alone in this. So, where do we actually get stuck? The root issue is that we tie our happiness and sense of self worth to the behaviors of others. So, what I mean by this is if this person in the home didn't do this thing, they're disrespectful. They're disrespecting me. When we expect respect to be shown through the actions or deeds, and when it's not, we kind of take it personally. We expect respect to be shown throughout our actions or deeds, and when it's not, we take this personally. When we see that there hasn't been much change over time, we get angry about that because it's frustrating, and we start feeling unseen at home. So, this is just a little personal story from my own recently. So, I live with my wife and our two daughters, and our girls are fortunate enough. I know many parents don't have these luxuries, but they have their own bathroom, their very own bathroom. And this can sometimes lead to problems. They have long hair and the drain can become clogged. But what's kind of surprising is that the clog became a bit of a crisis in our home. This should have been really simple. You have a clog, and then you just unclog it and everything's fixed. So, why exactly did this turn into a crisis? Well, first of all, we had some expectations versus the priorities of others in the household. So, my wife reasonably expects our girls to clean their bathroom. And my daughters are busy doing what makes them happy. We've all been a teen at one point. So we know what it's like to be a little bit self centered in that way and wanting to follow our joy. So this is the teen life. When my wife's expectations, reasonable expectations, clean your bathroom, you guys use it, you clean it. When those expectations are not met, she feels defeated, disrespected, and that nobody cares about her. Like nobody cares about all the things she does around the house. However, from my daughter's perspective, so I'm kind of bouncing you guys around here, they have the perspective of their priorities. And cleaning the bathroom is definitely not on their list of priorities. And by the way, I'm not taking sides here. I'm just creating a scenario that I see going on in my own household. The way I see it is this is a problem that's bigger than the bathroom. The bathroom clogging is just a catalyst. So my wife thinks that the girls don't respect her and that she's not heard. And there's some anger and sadness associated with those feelings. And my girls avoid the confrontation, assuming that confronting or saying what happened won't go well. So, from their perspective, there's a bit of fear and avoidance going on. This is kind of one of the cycles in my own household where the past emotions that we all hold on to kind of fuel the most recent trigger. And in this case, it just happened to be a clogged drain. This fuel kind of leads to a breakdown in the communication, which widens the divide between two people. So as you can see, in the photo here, there's a frustrated woman doing all the dishes. She doesn't feel seen, doesn't feel heard. And in the other side, there's a little child. She spilt something on the carpet and she looks worried about telling her mother about it. So her mother may or may not discover that later on, and this will start this perpetual cycle up again, which is really unfortunate. But I want to just look at this whole scenario through the lens of human design. So human design gives us a mechanical lens to get a different perspective on what's really going on here. It removes the blame because we're not here to blame people. It's just, I'm this way and you're that way. Everybody's unique. And it gives us this potential for some clarity. So, my daughter, my youngest daughter, she's a manifestor type in human design, and she has an open solar plexus. Here's her body graph on the right hand side here in yellow. Manifestors resist being told what to do. So they're here to do what they want to do. And because she also has an open solar plexus, she will most likely, her mind will tell her, hey, don't bring this up, don't do this, avoid that, avoid the conflict and truth of any given situation. So she's not exactly going to come out and say when something went wrong or something happened. And on the other hand, here's my wife's design on the left-hand side, and she's a manifesting generator, and she has an open ajna center. Manifesting generators and generators in general are like navel gazers. I'm a generator myself. We're self-interested. So my wife is interested in herself. So things that happen on the outside impact her own personal feeling of self. And that happens with me too. The open ajna is all about trying to be certain about things to avoid the anxiety of not feeling certain about them. So you can already see a little bit of a potential where these two designs are playing out together in the actual situation of a clogged bathtub. So, how do we establish communication that works knowing the information from human design system and knowing the scenario that happened or played out? So, one thing to know about manifestors is they do not like to be told what to do, when to do it, or if you put this in the most simplest terms, they don't like to be controlled. They're not here to be controlled. They're here to do whatever they feel like doing in the moment. They normally get information way before everyone else. They don't have to wait like every other type. If you're a mother of a manifestor child, something you can try, or a father of a manifestor child, is try informing your child of your needs to create a peaceful home. Manifestor's signature is peace. They want to be in a peaceful home, a home that flows, that feels good to them. They can bring things up. They don't have to go into their not self behaviors or be angry. For example, how can you inform your manifestor child, which is a good strategy to use with manifestor children, is you need to tell us when the bathtub is clogged, and I will do my best not to get upset about it being clogged. This kind of just invites a sense of peacefulness that you can tell me about things and I won't get angry. So you don't need to avoid my anger. That's also something I want to bring up, which is very interesting about the human design system. If you have a child who is a manifestor, for example, and you are not a manifestor yourself, you are going to feel their not self signature when things aren't running smoothly in the home. So my wife is going to feel angry when things are not running smoothly at home. But if you can take this initiative to inform your manifestor child about things like, hey, you left your coat downstairs, and you don't tell them when and where to do it and how to do it and try to control the situation, they will likely just go there and pick up their coat at some point. This is a lot less resistance in the household. And this also creates this open communication that you want to have in your household. I've been using this strategy with my Manifestor daughter for a while, and it's really allowed her to open up to me. She's not afraid to come to me and say, "Oh, I did this or that, or I need a ride here," or whatever the thing is. Manifestor children, they're born takers. So they're here to take and change things. They're like the change makers in society. They bring in the new stuff, they bring the innovation, and that's what they're here to do. But what we tend to do is try to control them, which makes them angry. And when a manifestor child is angry, there is no peace in your household. How can we be heard more clearly? Ask yourself, am I communicating in a way that will be received clearly? Human design helps you see and work with the people in your home rather than against them and have all this resistance. Respect begins with understanding, not control. Control, I've noticed, is in most old school parenting methods and even some new parenting methods. And this is just my own humble opinion that these methods are outdated for humanity. And it's time to move on to new methods that work with people and their individuality to move forward. So, using bribes as a control measure, using punishment, and sometimes even using force, they're just not going to work anymore because what those things do is they create distance, they kill communication, and they put a wedge between family members. And this is where you even see later in life, some kids move out of their home and they just stop talking to their parents altogether. They're done with feeling a certain way in their household, right? So they avoid this. And to me, that's pretty sad. Respect from a top level, it's really an inside job. When you tie your own self worth to someone else's behavior, you're actually giving away your power. Understanding yourself and your family helps break these generational cycles. Maybe this is how you were raised as a kid. And, when you're raising your own children, you take from that and you try to do it better. But human design gives you an under the hood look, like a blueprint of who each person is, and a little bit of guidance on how they move through life. So this work begins with the awareness, and that's where human design really comes in as your tool to help you. Respect isn't just taught, it's something that you model at home or show to others in your home. Through modeling these behaviors, you teach other people, hey, it's okay to be yourself. Human design is a practical tool for decoding these misunderstandings, which, it's like a deeper look and a new perspective on what's happening in your household. When you understand the why, your reaction can change. You don't have to get angry at certain things happening. You can take a step back, take a breath, and then move into the situation from a better place. This moves you out of the power struggle into peaceful partnership relationships within your family. And the family will only get stronger. If you're curious about your own design, your child's design, you can go to my website and request a free basic human design report. My website will be linked in the description below. Or you can book a foundational human design reading with me. I'll talk about your type, your strategy, your authority, and other key aspects of your design. The details are in the video description below. And remember, if you like this content, I love creating it. If you have any ideas for future videos, let me know. Like, comment, share my channel, and thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.